Hello everybody, welcome to this latest edition of Snow Talk. This is Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good. We got our snow. Many of us did see that snow out there. Overall, forecast worked out really good. Some areas did pick up as much as 6 inches of snow right across the river, and we had some scattered 4-inch amounts north and east of Louisville, and then again across Indiana, and then lighter to the south. Pretty much played out as expected, but what a nice snow it was. Pretty snow too. Love the wet snows because they stick to the trees and makes it very picturesque. Although the winds are picking up now, knocking all that snow off the trees, so if you can get a picture this morning, probably missed out on that opportunity. So now the big story is going to be the cold weather and then some changes as we head into the upcoming weekend. First off though, let's review some of the stats that we have for the season. Now this has changed. We're currently at Louisville International 2.9 inches. That breaks the old record of 0.3 set back in 1951. Normally we should be at least at a tenth of an inch. We're well above that already for the season. Last year we only had 0.3 of an inch, so already beating last year at this pace. And when you look at the average first trace, the average measurable snow, which is a tenth or higher, and average first 1 inch, we've already reached that. In fact, we normally would not hit our first 1 inch of snow until the day after Christmas, and we're not even to Thanksgiving. Crazy stuff. Looking ahead, well, I'll say right off the bat, there's not a lot to look forward to when it comes to snow. Very light chances to talk about here for Thursday, the day before Thanksgiving, but overall the pattern is changing more toward there's going to be a big story for us this afternoon. We've got some snow showers flying around as well. Now a lot of this is blowing around, so it's having a difficult time even accumulating. You'll see it blow on the road in front of you, and you'll get a mix of sun that'll come into play. Now if you look real carefully, you might have to strain your eyes. These are clouds that are moving, but notice the white areas in the background that are not moving. That is where the sky is clear enough that you can see the snow that is on the ground here in Indiana into northwest Kentucky. In fact, there's a rain-snow line, or the snow cutoff line looks to be right here in northwest Kentucky. But kind of cool to see that from space early on here for today. You see the snow showers passing on through. A few of these may accumulate briefly to a dusting if they are in sheltered areas where the wind is not able to reach them as much, but as you broaden out the view, you can see it's just a very cold air mass that's moving through the Ohio Valley. Look at the snowpack, that white shading I was just talking about. You can see it all over the Plain States. Snow covering right through here. Looks like another batch of snow that came out of Texas and Oklahoma. There's a stripe of snow here in the Ozarks. Looks like that moves its way into Kentucky. So you can kind of see the outlines here and see the rivers as well in Iowa, or from space where the snow is making them show up a little bit brighter than usual. Very cool shot here of the Ohio Valley for mid-November. Certainly unusual. About 50% of the country right now has snow on the ground. As we take a wider look though, here's the pattern that we're going to see change. Let me switch the satellite image over to a different view so you can see what I'm talking about. You see this low pressure. We haven't had a lot of lows that have been this far to the south. A lot of them have been aiming up here across the Gulf of Alaska and pumping in warm air in the west, and we get the cold air that moves into the eastern United States. Well, this system is changing the pattern up. This one's going to roar itself into the northwest, which is going to allow warmer air then to move further to the east and impact areas of the Ohio Valley in the southeast corner of the country, at least in the short term. So a slight pattern change thanks to this guy right here in the Pacific Ocean. All right, so temperatures right now, 24 degrees, 21 in Salem, 23 at Fort Knox. You factor in the wind chill. This is what you need to dress for if you're heading out this evening. It feels like 10 in Louisville, 21 in Salem, and 10 at Fort Knox. These will be much lower for tomorrow morning. Speaking of that, here we go for tonight. We're going to see these snow showers fade away. We'll drop down. Now, the model here says 17. It is not understanding the idea of snow cover at all. We're going to have a decent amount of snow cover that's now found mainly in this area, northern Kentucky and southern Indiana. So in this zone here, you're going to have to shave off perhaps 5 to as much as 7 degrees off of these numbers, which means that'll put Louisville close to 10 above for tomorrow morning, and some spots in Indiana could end up in the single digits. Wow, that is crazy. The record low for Louisville tonight is 13. I think that is going to be gone for us, the way things are looking. And even for tomorrow, it's got a high of 28. No, the snow is not going anywhere. The snow is still going to be there. So we got to go colder than what the model was saying. So we're thinking right now 24. If we do not climb above 25, that will be a record high as far as the cool afternoon high. Right now stands at 25 degrees. If we stay at 24, that will break that record. I think that will certainly happen the way it's looking at this point. Although we do have some sunshine for tomorrow, so you never know. The sun can still do some crazy things. Wind chills, we'll talk about that. The model is saying 5 is what's going to feel like tomorrow morning here in Louisville. 2 above in North Vernon, and about 1 below Lexington. But again, the model is already too warm for tonight on actual temperature, so it's very likely that these will all be below 0. I would say maybe 5 to 6 below will be very common for tomorrow morning. Keep this in mind for the kids at the bus stop in the morning, and for yourself, and for your car. You got to warm it up in the morning. All those normal things we do in mid-January, you're going to have to do it in mid-November. And the wind chills will stay chilly all day on Tuesday. So that's the short-term outlook. Now, looking ahead, I mentioned how that low pressure is moving to California, and the indices are matching it here. Once you go above this line, you get into the Arctic area going back. The polar vortex goes back to its home to rest for a while, and that is the trend. It is showing it climbing back up to where it's going to go back and just chill out for a while. You see how it's been negative the past week and a half or so, and that's why we've had so much cold air to talk about. GFS, same thing. Polar vortex is going to retreat, and the new higher grade GFS saying the same indice. There's not much blocking. There's slight blocking showing up. It's almost neutral. This is where the jet stream could slow down. You get bigger storm systems, slow-moving storm systems. Same thing here on the GFS and on the experimental. So it's not off the chart going into positive territory, which means the pattern will be very progressive. There's enough neutral leaning here with hovering close to the line. There still could be some decent storms that could slow down and pull in some cold air behind them and big warm-ups ahead of them. So that matches very well. And the PNA shows that when you get a positive PNA, it goes above the line, you get cold weather in the east. When it goes into negative territory, you get warmer weather, and that is the trend also showing up on the PNA. So the indices are lining up nicely for pattern change for the weekend and very early next week. Now, before that happens, there is going to be another shot of cold air. One more that's going to slide in here as we head into the time frame of Thursday. It looks like late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Let me change my wand so you can see what I'm talking about. This little area of low pressure will track across the Great Lakes. It'll have a band of moisture with it that'll try to scoop up with that plunge of cold air. It may be able to squeeze out some snow showers. The models underestimate this a lot, so it's very likely we'll see a band of snow showers very early on Thursday passing through. GFS not too excited about. The Canadian is. It's actually spitting out measurable snowfall potentially, maybe a dusting or so out of these as they pass the early Thursday. We'll watch that carefully. We got it in the forecast. I see no reason to take it out. The Euro doesn't have it, but there's enough support with the pattern here with Arctic air being reinforced on Thursday. That is certainly possible. So yes, it's going to try to warm up by Wednesday, but Thursday will get knocked back down again because of this feature. Once it moves out of the way, then we prepare for the warm-up. Here's the 850 millibar chart for the GFS showing nice warm flow and moist flow coming off the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf has been closed for a while, but it's going to bring a lot of moisture and warmth right into the Ohio Valley. So heavy rain, thunderstorms. I don't want to talk about the chance for severe just yet. We don't have data yet to really say either way on how that's going to play out. But right now, a good bed of rain and maybe some thunder and warmer weather, especially on Sunday. And it's going to be fast, too. Saturday may moderate somewhat, but by the time we head into Saturday night and Sunday, bam, I mean, it's just going to warm up fast into potentially the 60s on Sunday, maybe even Monday. Here's the surface map on the GFS, again, showing the low pressure. It's a deep low, too, so we've got to watch that because the wind fields will be very strong on the southeast section of that, right into areas from Kentucky down into the Gulf states. If there's severe weather, I think the highest chance for severe storms is going to be found here. A little more iffy across Kentucky and northern Tennessee, but we're not out of the woods on that threat. But I just don't want to go too much detail on that yet, this early. All right, looking ahead, day before Thanksgiving. Yeah, this warm air doesn't last long. It shows another plunge moving in for the busiest travel day of the year, perhaps into Thanksgiving itself. I mentioned the NAO hovering around neutral, which means a blocking pattern, slower moving storms. So you can get deeper troughs that come in behind warm-ups. So this would seem to support the idea of maybe a few snowflakes, perhaps, for the day before Thanksgiving or perhaps on Thanksgiving Day. But no big snowstorms that I can see anytime soon. Everything's pretty minor. And I think everybody's okay with that. Even the snow lovers, you got to be, I'm okay with it. Hey, we got almost 3 inches of snow here in Louisville. Not a bad way to start when it's still fall. We got a long winter to go, so it's nice to get warm-ups. And plus, if you want to decorate the house and get those Christmas lights up, I would take advantage of this warm-up coming while you can. All right, that's it for now. Much more with your pictures and snow coming up today and the cold weather today starting at 5.